Have you ever wondered what truly makes a woman give her full heart, attention, and loyalty without pressure, without games? It's not about charm or smooth talk. It's about the kind of emotional presence you bring into her life. In today's video, we're revealing 10 powerful non-physical signs that show her she's safe with you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And when a woman feels that kind of safety, she gives you everything. It's not out of obligation, but out of trust. Ready to build a deeper, more meaningful connection that lasts? You're in the right place. Bell icon. Don't forget to subscribe to Psychology Tips for daily insights on relationships, confidence, and emotional strength, especially for mature men who value substance over flash. Let's get into it. Number 1, you make her feel safe emotionally and mentally in a world that often asks women to be guarded, to stay on alert, or to prove themselves constantly. Emotional and mental safe is one of the greatest gifts a man can offer. It doesn't come through big romantic gestures, wealth, or appearance. It comes through consistency, respect, presence, and emotional maturity. When a woman feels safe with you emotionally and mentally, she relaxes, she opens. She starts to show you more of who she really is. It's not because she has to, but because she wants to. This kind of safety builds connection, trust, and depth. It makes her feel seen, not for how she looks or what she does for others, but for who she truly is inside. Let's explore what TEET means to make a woman feel emotionally and mentally safe, and why this kind of safety is the foundation for real connection. 1. You listen to understand, not just to respond. When a woman feels safe when she knows she's not being dismissed or fixed every time she speaks, emotional safety begins with how you listen. Do you pause to absorb her words? Do you ask questions to understand her deeper meaning? Or do you rush in with solutions before she even finishes? When a woman sees that you're genuinely present, not multitasking, not impatient, not checking your phone, she feels heard. And being heard is a core human need. You don't have to have the perfect response. Just showing that you care enough to listen without judgment or interruption is often more than enough. 2. You don't weaponize her vulnerability. Emotional safety means she can share her insecurities, past pain, or private thoughts without worrying that you'll bring them up in a future argument or use them to shame her. If you mock, minimize, or throw her vulnerability back in your face later, she won't feel safe opening up again. But if you treat those moments like something sacred, something she trusted you with, then her trust in you deepens. She learns that her presence isn't a threat, but a shelter. 3. You regulate your own emotions. Many people are walking around carrying unresolved emotions, and when triggered, they explode. If you're the kind of man who can feel anger or frustration, but still respond calmly and respectfully, you become rare. Emotional regulation builds emotional safety. It tells her, I won't lash out at you. I can handle conflict without becoming scary or cold. Your emotions are safe with me because I know how to manage mine. This steadiness creates a sense of emotional ground beneath her. Even when shasapsa, your calm gives her space to express herself freely, for you don't make her earn your respect. One of the most subtle forms of emotional safety is respect that's not conditional. She shouldn't have to behave a certain way, look a certain way, or always agree with you just to be respected. Real respect is stable. It sees her as a whole person, not just as odd of actions. If she knows your tone won't turn cold the moment you disagree, she begins to feel safe, being honestly herself, not just agreeable. This kind-of safety gives her permission to drop the act, to be real, to stop performing. 5. You hold space without trying to control her emotions. When a woman is shouting, venting, or feeling anxious, many men rush in to fix the issue. Sometimes because they care, and sometimes because her emotions make them uncomfortable. But emotional safety doesn't mean rushing to correct or silence her. It means being able to hold space. Holding space means letting her feel what she feels, not minimizing her pain, not needing her to cheer up so you'll feel better. Trusting that your steady presence is more powerful than advice. She doesn't need you to be her therapist or her hero. She just needs you to be someone she doesn't have to protect herself from. 6. You're honest and transparent. Emotional and mental safety cannot exist in a cloud of uncertainty or hidden agendas. If she's constantly second-guessing what you mean or wondering where she stands with you, it erodes her ability to feel emotionally grounded in your presence. Being honest, even when it's uncomfortable, creates trust, and trust is safety. When you communicate clearly, when your actions match your words, and when you don't play emotional games, she feels emotionally safe to be open with you and reader. 7. You accept her flaws without trying to fix her. We all have parts of ourselves that are messy, imperfect, or evolving. Emotional safety means you don't X. That includes moments of doubt. Times when she doesn't have it all together, times when she makes mistakes or has insecurities. Your acceptance without trying to change her gives her peace. It says, I'm here for who you are, not who I want you to be. 8. You're emotional available, not just physically present. Some men are in the room but not realize. If your mind is elsewhere, if you shut down emotionally, or if you avoid hard conversations, it leaves her feeling alone, even when you're sitting next to her. Emotional safety comes when you show that you're accessible. Thatch can reach you, not just with her words, but with her feelings. That might look like admitting when you feel uncertain or afraid, letting her know what's really on your mind. Leaning in emotionally rather than pulling away. The more emotionally available you are, the more she feels like she can come closer. Number 2, you're present, not just physically, but emotionally, too. In a world filled with distractions, where people are constantly pulled in 1,000 directions, phones buzzing, schedules overflowing, minds racing, being fully present is rare. And yet when you are emotionally present, not just physically, it's deeply felt by others, especially by someone who values emotional depth. Your presence becomes more than proximity. It becomes a kind of silent, steady support. You don't just take up space in theory room, you bring clarity to it. You don't merely stand by someone, you stand with them. Your emotional presence says, I see you, I hear you, I'm here fully. Let's explore what it really means to be emotionally present and why it's one of the most powerful things you can afford to someone without saying a single romantic or suggestive word. 1. You're reactant to the moment, not lost in distractions. Being emotionally present means your mind is not elsewhere. You're not checking your phone during a conversation or rehearsing what you're going to say next while someone is talking. Instead, you listen realistic. You make the person across from you feel like they're the most important thing in the room. So that attention is rare. It tells them they matter. It allows them to speak freely without having to fight for your focus. In a culture where multitasking is glorified, your willingness to focus on a person at a time becomes a quiet form of respect. Number 2, you don't just hear, you understand. Emotional presence goes deeper than hearing words. You catch the tone. Behind them, do you notice when someone says they're fine? Their eyes look tired. You notice the hesitation in their voice when they speak about something sensitive? You don't push, you don't trush, you just understand. And in your understanding, people feel safe. Realize they don't have to explain every feeling because you already get it. That emotional intelligence builds trust steadily and silently. 3. You're steady even when emotions aren't. Life is messy. Emotions can be unpredictable. But your emotional presence offers something that's often missing: stability. When others feel overwhelmed or uncertain, your calmness doesn't ignore their feelings. It absorbs and holds space for them. You don't try to fix everything. You don't interrupt with advice unless asked. Simply allow emotions to exist in the space between you, and that's enough. You become a kind of anchor. Your steady presence becomes the quiet reminder you're not alone in this. Number 4, you engage with curiosity, not assumption. You don't jump to conclusions. You don't assume you know everything about someone just because you've known them 4 years. You stay curious. This shows emotional presence in a powerful way. Instead of projecting your ideas onto someone, you invite them to share more of themselves. You ask questions like, what's been on your mind lately? What did that feel like for you? Do you want to talk about it or just sit together for a bit? That openness makes us feel seen, not judged. It creates a space where vulnerability feels welcomed, not risky. Number 5, you're comfortable with silence when it matters. Emotionally present people understand that not all meaningful moments require words. Sometimes it's the shared silence that holds the most connection. You don't rush to fill every quiet space. You recognize that some silences are sacred. It can be moments of reflection, moments of mourning, or just moments of calm between two people who don't need to perform for each other. This level of comfort only comes from someone who's emotionally mature, someone who's not afraid of stillness, who doesn't use noise to avoid depth. Number 6, you're vulnerable too in a grounded way. Being emotionally present doesn't mean always being strong for others. It also means being real about your own emotions without making them the center of everything. You share honestly. You say things like, "That's something I've struggled with too." Or, "This conversation is bringing up a lot, Falm." Or, "I'm still figuring that out myself." That kind of honesty fosters connection. It's not about oversharing or turning the attention to yourself. It's about meeting others at the human level where a perfection isn't required and authenticity is enough. Number 7, you make people feel like they matter, because they do. When you're emotionally present, you're telling someone with your body language, tone, and attention, you're important. I value this moment with you. Stoic. Grand gestures. It can be as simple as making eye contact that doesn't wander, remembering something Thea told you last week, or pausing to check in without being prompted. Those small acts become emotional anchors. People remember how they felt in your presence, not just what was said. Number 8, you allow emotions to exist without trying to fix everything. Sometimes people just need to express you they feel without solutions being offered.
Oh, yeah.
Emotionally present individuals and dance. You don't rush people to move on or look at the bright side. You allow emotions to breathe. You hold space. Say things like, "That sounds really hard," or "It's okay to feel that way," or "I'm here, take your time." That presence, free of pressure, judgment, or forced positivity, becomes a healing experience in itself. Number 9, you're consistent, not just available when it's convenient. Emotional presence isn't about showing up once and disappearing. It's about consistency. You check in regularly. You remember people's emotional timelines, not just hair schedules. You don't only show up when it's easy or convenient. You show up because it matters. This consistency builds emotional safety. People don't feel like they're walking on eggshells around you. They know what version of you they'll get because your emotional presence is not based on mood swings, ego, or agenda. It's based on care. Number 3, you value her mind, not just her appearance. In a world where compliments are often shallow and attention is short-lived, a woman can tell almost instantly whether a man truly sees her or is just admiring the surface. While physical beauty might catch the eye, it's mental depth that captures the heart. When a man values a woman for her thoughts, opinions, ideas, and emotional intelligence, it shows maturity and depth of character. If you're the kind of man who appreciates a woman's mind, not just how she looks, but how she thinks, how she sees the world, how she expresses herself, you stand out more than you know. Here's what it means when you value her mind and why it makes all the difference. Number 1, you see her as a whole person, not a role. Many women are used to being admired for what they do or how they appear, whether as professionals, caretakers, or simply based on societal standards. But when Eamon values her mind, she feels seen, not for a role she plays, but for the person she's beneath it all. You notice the way she thinks through problems, how she processes emotion, how she makes decisions. You see, beyond her title, her appearance, or her smile. And that tells her you're connecting to her, not just a version of her. Number 2, you ask her what she thinks, and you really listen. It's one thing to ask a question, it's another to care about the answer. When you genuinely want her opinion, not just to be polite, but because you value her insight. She feels respected on an intellectual and emotional level. Whether you're discussing life decisions, current events, or personal beliefs, your interest and what's on her mind tells her, "I trust your thinking." Your perspective matters here. That simple but powerful act builds trust and lays the groundwork for meaningful connection. Number 3, you compliment her thoughtfulness, not just her appearance. While there's nothing wrong with appreciating someone's physical beauty, words that affirm her intellect and depth go further. Saying things like, "I admire the way you think through things. You always bring such a unique perspective. You challenge me to look at things differently." Being told that is not just rare, it's transformative. Number 4, you're drawn to her curiosity and self-awareness. When you value her mind, you're not intimidated by her curiosity or her questions. You're attracted to them in a non-physical, deeply human way. You respect that she's thoughtful about life, that she reflects, reads, questions, and grows. You're not looking for someone who agrees with you all the time. You're looking for someone who thinks with you. Someone you can explore ideas with, challenge each other gently, and grow side by side. That emotional compatible becomes more powerful than any surface attraction. Number 5, you give her space to express without interrupting or redirecting. Valuing her mind also means making room for her thoughts, especially in moments when her voice might otherwise be dismissed. You don't try to one-up her ideas or steer the conversation back toward yourself. You don't feel the need to always correct or lecture. Instead, you listen attentively. You reflect on what she says. You even ask deeper questions. That kind of respect doesn't just signal patience. It shows genuine regard for her inner world. Number 6, you respect her differences and never try to diminish them. A woman who is thoughtful, opinionated, or intellectual has often been told to tone it down or not make it so deep. But when you value her mind, you don't ask her to shrink. You encourage her to expand. You might not always agree with her, but you don't see that as a threat. You see it as a strength. You appreciate that her view might challenge yours. You're not afraid of differences. You welcome them, because they lead to richer conversations and more authentic connection. Number 7, you're interested in her inner world, her hopes, her fears, her values. When Eamon values a woman's mind, he becomes deeply curious about what drives her, not just what entertains her. You ask about what shaped her values, what gives her peace, what kind of future she envisions, what keeps her up at night, or what lights her up inside. These are the kinds of questions that bypass surface talk and reach the kind-off emotional safety that few people experience. That's when a woman starts to feel truly known. Number 8, you admire her intelligence without feeling the need to compete. Some men get uncomfortable when a woman is intelligent, well-read, or emotionally inceived. But a man who values her mind welcomes it, doesn't need to prove. He knows more or be right all the time. He knows that relationships aren't about winning arguments. They're about building understanding. And he sees her intelligence as something that strengthens the connection, not something that threatens his own. Number 9, you match her in emotional and intellectual maturity. It's not just about admiring her thoughts, it's about meeting her at that level. You show her thought you're emotionally available, thoughtful in your responses, and honest about your own beliefs. This kind of offer tells her we can build something equal, something deep, something steady. When she sees you operating at that level, not out of performance, but because it's who you are, she naturally opens up more of her inner world to you. Number 4, you're honest, even when it's hard. There's a quiet strength in honesty, especially the kind that shows up when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or risky. Being honest when it's easy is common, but when the stakes are high or emotions are fragile, your choice to speak the truth reflects something deeper about who you are. Honesty, particularly in difficult moments, becomes a mirror of your character. It tells people that you value clarity over comfort, that you prioritize what's right over what's easy. And when you consistently choose that path, even gently, even with care, it makes an unforgettable impression on those around you. Let's explore the deeper reasons why your honesty, especially in hard moments, sets you apart and earns the respect of others in a quiet but lasting way. 1, you value integrity over approval. When you're honest, even at the risk of disappointing someone, it shows that your loyalty lies with truth, not just with being liked. You don't shape your words to win favor. You speak from a place of grounded self-respect. People often admire this even if it takes them time to realize it. They may not always agree with you, but they can sense you're not pretending. And that authenticity is rare in a world full of surface level validation. 2. You don't hide behind convenience. It's tempting to gloss over the truth to avoid tension. But you don't take the easy way out. You choose your words carefully, not to manipulate, but to be clear, fair, and real. That kind of emotional maturity is deeply felt. I choose that you're not afraid of discomfort if it means honoring reality, and in doing so, you give others permission to be just as real in return. 3. You communicate respectfully, even when it's difficult. Being honest doesn't mean being harsh. You know how to speak your truth with kindness. When something needs to be said, you don't lash out or use honesty as a weapon. You present your thoughts with care, respecting both your truth and the dignity of the other person. That balance between directness and compassion is incredibly rare. It's what makes your honesty feel safe, not threatening. 4. You build trust that lasts. People might not always hearing the truth, but over time they come to rely on your words because you've proven that you won't say one thing to their face and another behind their back. You won't let silence do the speaking when some method important needs to be addressed. Your consistency builds real trust, the kind that doesn't need to be loudly declared. It's just understood. People know if they ask you something, they'll get the truth, not a performance. 5. You take responsibility, not the shortcut. When you make a mistake, you own it. You don't dodge accountability or blame others. That kind of honesty, especially about yourself, is deeply powerful. It shows humility, courage, and a commitment to growth. Many people run from responsibility, but you meet head on. That inspires others to do the same. And that's why your apologies carry weight and your efforts are respected. 6. You respect people enough to tell them the truth. Sometimes honesty is the highest form of respect. You believe people deserve clarity, not confusion. You don't leave others guessing. Yes, speak up even when it's awkward because you know how painful silence or dishonesty can be in the long run. Your truth might sting in the short term, but it heals. It frees people from false hope, misunderstanding, or assumptions. And in the end, they remember that you had the courage to be clear when it mattered. 7. You're not controlled by fear. Many people stay quiet out of fear of conflict, rejection, or change. But your honesty comes from an inner strength. You're not reckless, but you're not ruled by fear either. The facade of fearlessness doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it's a soft but steady voice that says what needs to be said. And that voice becomes a guidepost for others, reminding them what it looks like to live with courage and self-respect. 8. You invite deeper connections. When you're honest, people feel they can be honest too. You create a space where real connection is possible, where masks can come off and mutual understanding can begin. You don't hide behind small talk or pretend everything is fine when it's not. Your willingness to be transparent opens the door for meaningful conversations, for deeper trust, and for relationships that are rooted in truth, not illusion. 9. You're rooted in your values. Your honesty isn't impulsive. It comes from a solid foundation. You know what you stand for, and that clarity guides your choices. When you speak, it's not just reaction, it's reflection. It's a commitment to what you believe matters most. And that steadiness is rare. It gives people confidence in you. Even when they disagree, they respect you because they know where you stand and that you won't bend just to avoid discomfort. 10. You give others permission to be brave too. When someone sees you being honest, especially when it's difficult, it often encourages them to be honest with themselves. Your courage becomes contagious. It reminds them that they didn't have to hide or pretend. You may never fully know the impact your honesty has had on others, but in quiet ways, you help people live with more clarity, more dignity, and more courage. You show them what it means to be both honest and human. Number 5, you support her, quietly and consistently in relationships, whether they're romantic, growing, or simply meaningful. Loud declarations aren't always what build trust. What often matters most to a woman is quiet consistency. The small, steady ways you show her you care, even when no one's watching and there's nothing in it for you. Support doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. In fact, the most meaningful support often happens silently in the background without praise or applause. Here are there all reasons why supporting her quietly and consistently makes a lasting impact. 1. Builds a foundation of trust over time. Loud gestures can impress for a moment. Quiet consistency builds trust for a lifetime. When you support her in small, reliable ways, showing up when you say you will, checking in on her without being asked, or remembering something she mentioned weeks ago, it creates a pattern. That pattern becomes emotional safety. She learns she can rely on you, not just during the highs, but also during the ordinary, unglamorous moments. 2. It shows you're not trying to control or fix her. True support doesn't come with strings attached. When you help her grow, solve problems, or navigate her day without trying to take over or fix everything, you send a powerful message. I believe in your strength. I'm just here to stand beside you. That kind of respect strengthens her rather than making her feel dependent. 3. It demonstrates selflessness. Quiet support means you don't need recognition to do the right thing. You encourage her behind the scenes, offer guidance when asked, and don't make her feel like she owes you something in return. This kind of support is rare and deeply appreciated. 8. It reveals your character more than words ever could, for it tells her you're paying attention. Support isn't always verbal. Seneca visits, offering her your jacket before she asks, or texting her good luck before an important meeting you quietly remembered. These small acts speak volumes. You notice her, you listen, you care about what matters to her. Women didn't expect perfection, but they do appreciate thoughtfulness, and thoughtfulness shows up in the quiet moments. 5. It reduces pressure during tough times. When she's going through something difficult, stress at work, a personal loss, or even just a bad day, quiet support can mean more than 1,000 words. It's not about giving solutions. It's about being present, sitting with her in silence. Being a calming presence or helping out with little things can ease her burden without making her feel exposed or overwhelmed. 6. It reflects emotional maturity. Anyone can talk about support, but not everyone can offer it steadily without needing to turn it into a performance. When you support her without needing praise, when you're consistent even when she's not at her best, that shows real emotional depth. It tells her you don't just care when it's easy, you care because that's who you are. 7. It builds a quiet kind of confidence in the relationship. When your actions are dependable and your energy is calm, she doesn't have to constantly wonder where she stands with you. That allows her to relax, open up, and contribute more fully to the relationship herself. In this way, your quiet support becomes a mirror, helping her feel more stable, confident, and supported. Not just a sire partner, but as her own person. 8. It encourages her independence, not dependency. Ironically, the more steadily you support her, the stronger and more independent she feels. That's because she knows you're not trying to make her need you. You're simply choosing to walk beside. Her women respect that. They remember it, and they offer deeper loyalty to someone who empowers them rather than someone who tries to manage them. 9. It strengthens emotional intimacy without words. Real intimacy is built on presence, not pressure. When you're consistently kind, when you show up in ways that require no fanfare, it creates a deep emotional closeness. It's in the way you remember her favorite tea when she's not feeling well, or how you stay up just a bit longer to make sure she gets home safely. These acts might be small, but they speak to her heart. 6. You're secure in who you are, and it shows. There's something undeniably grounding about a person who is truly secure in who they are. It's not arrogance. It's not loud or showy. Instead, it's a quiet confidence, a steady presence that doesn't need to dominate a room. It still somehow leaves a lasting impression. When someone is secure in who they are, you can feel it in the way they move, speak, listen, and respond. Tough world around them. This kind of security doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of inner work, life experience, and emotional maturity. It is deeply human and quietly powerful. Here are the key reasons Someone who's securing themselves stands out and why it matters. More than most people realize. 1. They don't constantly seek approval. When you're secure in who you are, you don't live for validation. You don't need every comment liked, every message returned immediately, or every opinion affirmed. That doesn't mean you're indifferent. It means your sense of worth isn't built on others' reactions. You value feedback, but you are not defined by it. You can accept praise without letting it inflate your ego, and you can hear criticism without letting it destroy your peace. 2. They're comfortable with silence. A secure person doesn't rush to fill every quiet moment with noise. They're not afraid of stillness in conversations, in relationships, or in life. They understand that silence isn't a void to escape, but a space to reflect, recharge, or simply be. This comfort with silence often helps others relax too. It sends the message, there's no pressure to perform here. You can just be yourself. 3. They don't pretend to know everything. People who are secure don't need to impress others by pretending to be experts on every topic. They're not afraid to say, I don't know, or I was wrong. In fact, they see those moments as opportunities, not weaknesses. Their humility is a strength. They're constantly learning, not because they feel lacking, but because they value growth. For they treat everyone with the same level of respect. When someone is securing who they are, they don't feel the need to look down on others to feel above. They treat the janitor and the CEO with equal dignity. They know that worth isn't measured by job titles, wealth, or status symbols. Their self-respect allows them to extend real respect outward consistently and quietly, without an agenda. 5. They don't over-explain or over-defend themselves. Insecure people often feel the need to justify every decision or explain every emotion. But a secure person doesn't argue with someone just to prove they're right. They know what they feel. They know why they chose what they did. And if someone misunderstands them, they're not always rushing to fix that. They don't walk around trying to be misunderstood, but they're okay if someone doesn't get them. Their peace doesn't depend on being perfectly seen by everyone. 6. They allow others to shine. Someone who's secure isn't threatened by the success, intelligence, or beauty of others. In fact, they're often the first toads celebrated. They don't view life as a competition where someone else's light dims theirs. Instead, they see strength in lifting others up, sharing the spotlight, or stepping back when it's someone else's moment. 7. They can be alone without feeling lonely. A secure person enjoys their own company. They can sit at a coffee shop alone without needing to reach for their phone every few seconds. They don't fear being single or spending time on their own. That solitude isn't empty to them. It's enriching. They've built an inner life that doesn't always need external stimulation to feel full. 8. They accept their past without letting it define them. Everyone has scars, but someone who's secure doesn't hide tears and shame, or do they wear them like a badge for attention. They acknowledge their story, the mistakes, the lessons, the growth, and they've made peace with it. They don't constantly relive their past, nor doth they pretend it never happened. They live in the present, informed by the past, but not chained to it. 9. They didn't try to control others. Control often comes from fear. Fear of being hurt, abandoned, or unseen. But a secure person doesn't need to micromanage every relationship or situation. They trust people to be who they are, even when that means things may not go their way. They understand that real connection comes from freedom, not force. So they lead with trust, not control. Point 10. They're not trying to be liked. They're focused on being real. Being liked isn't their mission. Being honest, kind, and grounded is they know that. Not everyone will connect with them, and they're okay with that. What matters most is staying true to their principles. Their authenticity is what draws them to them. It's not because they're trying to be magnetic, but because they're not trying to be anything they're not. Number 7. You see her humanity, not just her role. In a world that often defines women by the roles they play, mother, wife, employee, daughter, caretaker, it's rare and deeply meaningful when someone sees beyond those roles and honors her simply as a person. When a man chooses to see a woman not as a responsibility, not as a position in his life, and not even as a type of partner, but as a full human being, with her own thoughts, emotions, and identity. Something powerful happens. She relaxes. She becomes more open. She trusts you. Why? Because being seen in your wholeness is one of the rarest, most healing things in any relationship. Let's explore what it really means to see her humanity, and why this simple but profound shift in perception changes everything. One, you recognize that she has a life outside of you. When you see her humanity, you understand that she doesn't exist to revolve around you. She has her own history, routines, pressures, and aspirations that existed long before you entered the picture. You don't expect her to drop her world to fit into yours. Instead, you respect her world, her time, her responsibilities, her individuality. That respect tells her, I see you as a whole person, not just someone who plays a part in my story. 2. You don't put her on a pedestal or a box. It's tempting to idealize someone when you admire them. But putting a woman on a pedestal is still a form of objectif. I see it tion. Why? Because it holds her to a perfect image that doesn't allow her to be human. The flip side is boxing her into a role. She's just the quiet type. Portia's always the strong one. But when you see her as a human being, you allow her to be complex. You give her the space to have both strength and vulnerability, both certainty and confusion without labeling her or making her prove herself. That quiet patience is one of the most powerful signs of respect you can offer. 3. Do acknowledge her emotional landscape without dismissing it. Everyone feels deeply, but women are often told they're too emotional or overthinking. When you see her humanity, you don't try to fix her emotions, minimize them, or make her feel weak for having them. Instead, you recognize that emotions are part of being human. You listen. You stay present. You don't make her feel like she has to get it together before she can be worthy of being heard. That quiet patience is one of the most powerful signs of respect you can offer. For you show interest in her inner world, not just her outer actions. Seeing her humanity means you're curious about how she thinks, what she believes, how she processes life. It means asking questions like, what's something you've been thinking about lately? Or what do you wish people understood about you more? Or what brings you peace? You didn't just notice what she does for you. You pay attention to who she is even when she's not trying to impress anyone. 5. You don't expect her to be strong all the time. Many women carry the pressure to hold everything together at home, at work, and their families. They often feel like they can't fall apart for a moment. But when you see her humanity, you give her space to not be okay. Sometimes you don't push her to bounce back quickly. You don't treat her strength like a permanent job description. Instead, you support her in both her strength and her softness. That freedom is rare, and when she feels it, she'll trust you deeply. 6. You respect her boundaries and take them personally. A woman who sets boundaries is honoring herself. When you respect those boundaries, whether emotional, mental, or physical, you're showing her that her needs matter. Seeing her humanity means not interpreting her limits as rejection or challenge. It means recognizing that a right to protect their peace. When you don't guilt-trip her or try to change her pace, you build a foundation of respect. That leads to real connection. 7. You notice the effort behind the scenes. Sometimes her contributions are quiet and unnoticed. Like the way she checks in on people or remembers details about your schedule or supports others without needing acknowledgement. When you take a moment to say, I noticed what you did. That was thoughtful. Or you always seem to carry so much. I just want you to know I see it. You're seeing the person behind the actions. That kind of awareness speaks louder than compliments. 8. You're not intimidated by her growth. Some men get uncomfortable when a woman grows in confidence, ambition, or clarity. But when you see her humanity, her growth doesn't threaten you. It inspires you. You celebrate her wins, even if they have nothing to do with you. You don't compete. You don't compare. You support her evolution without trying to control the outcome. And she remembers that, because so few people applaud her becoming more of herself. 9. You allow her to change her mind. Being human means evolving. And when you allow her space to shift opinions, outgrow old ideas, or change directions without holding her to an old version of herself, You give her freedom to keep becoming. It means she doesn't have to pretend she's got it all figured out. She can be real, imperfect, and still worthy of your attention. That authenticity makes her feel safe to show you her full self. 10. You don't expect her to be everything to you. Lastly, you see her as someone with you, not for you. You didn't expect her to be your emotional support, entertainment, therapist, cheerleader, planner. It's a constant source of happiness. That's not love. That's pressure. Seeing her humanity means knowing that she has her own needs too. And when you meet her as an equal, not as someone to depend on for everything, she naturally gives you the best of herself without feeling depleted. Number 8. You're calm in conflict. In a world where tempers flare quickly and words can cut deeply, being calm in conflict is not just rare, it's powerful. Whether in relationships, friendships, or professional settings, people who remain composed when tensions rise are often the most respected and remembered. It's not about being passive or emotionless. It's about choosing clarity over chaos and understanding over ego. 1. You create a safe emotional environment. When emotions run high, many people brace themselves for an explosion. But when you stay calm, you signal that the space is still emotionally safe. It allows others to express themselves without fear of being attacked or dismissed. You invite vulnerability with it, forcing it, and that changes the entire dynamic of a disagreement. 2. You lead by example, not volume. In moments of disagreement, people often feel the need to speak louder to be heard. But you show that strength isn't found in shouting, it's found in grounded confidence. Your tone invites reason rather than resistance. Pio planatus. When someone refuses to escalate a situation and instead models maturity. 3. You think before you speak. Calmness gives you time to pause and choose your words thoughtfully. You don't rush into reactive statements or speak from a place of wounded pride. Instead, you aim for clarity and fairness. Others may get swept away by emotion, but your measured responses often diffuse tension before it grows. 4. You don't fight to win. You aim to understand. For you, a disagreement isn't a battlefield. It's a conversation. You're in a concern with being right at the cost of someone else's dignity. Your goal is understanding where the other person is coming from, what they truly mean, and how to move forward in a constructive way. That kind of mindset is rare and people feel it. 5. You give the other person room to reflect. When you don't interrupt, raise your voice, or react defensively, the other person often has space to step back and reflect on their own behavior. Your calmness acts as a mirror. It reflects intensity without feeding it. And sometimes that's all someone needs to have softened their own approach. 6. You're not controlled by emotion. You acknowledge it. Being calm doesn't mean you don't feel strong. Emotions, it means you recognize them, but they don't dictate your behavior. You can sit with anger or frustration without letting it spill out in destructive ways. That level of self-awareness earns quiet respect even from those who may never say it aloud. 7. You help de-escalate, instead, fueling the fire. Many conflicts spiral because both sides escalate emotionally, but you become the grounding force. You slow things down. Your calm responses often make others feel heard, even if you disagree. That's when real resolution becomes possible. Not when everyone is shouting, but when someone dares to be still. 8. You don't personalize every disagreement. Not every disagreement is an attack. You understand this, and so you don't take everything personally. That inner emotional distance allows you to stay calm. You can hear criticism without letting it destroy your sense of worth, and that gives you a clear worth advantage in difficult conversations. 9. You preserve the relationship even in disagreement. Disagreements don't have to end relationships, and you understand that deeply. Your calmness shows that you value the connection more than winning the argument. You're focused on long-term trust, not short-term pride. This often leads people to trust you more even after the conflict passes. 10. You leave a lasting impression. Strength and grace. Long after the conflict is over, people remember how you handled it. Your calmness becomes part of your reputation. Someone who doesn't crumble under pressure, who doesn't get drawn into drama, and who brings stability when others bring storms. That kind of presence leaves a mark. Number 9, you're consistent, not confusing. In a world filled with uncertainty, unpredictability, and emotional ups and downs, consistency is one of the most powerful and quietly attractive qualities a man can offer. Consistency doesn't mean you're perfect. It means you're dependable. It means your words match your actions. Your energy isn't unpredictable. And people, especially women, know what to expect from you. When a woman feels confused about where she stands with someone, she becomes guarded. But when you are steady, reliable, and emotionally clear, she feels safe enough to open up, trust, and invest in you on a deeper level. Here's what it really means to be consistent and why that makes all the difference. 1. Your words match your actions. It starts here. If you say you'll call, you'll call. If you say you'll be there, you'll show up. If you promise something, you follow through. When your words and actions align, people feel they can trust you. A woman especially notices this because it shows her you're not about empty talk or performance. You're about integrity. This kind of alignment builds emotional safety. She no longer needs to second-guess your intentions because your follow-through proves your sincerity. 2. Your energy doesn't swing wildly. Consistency isn't just about actions. It's also about your emotional presence. If you're warm and kind one day, then distant or cold the next, it sends mixed signals. That kind of emotional inconsistency confuses people and makes them feel unstable around you. But when you are steady, reliable, and emotionally clear, she feels safe and ought to open up, trust, and invest in you on a deeper level. 3. You show up even when it's inconvenient. Anyone can be consistent when things are easy. Real consistency shows in the quiet moments when you're busy, distracted, or overwhelmed. Yet, you still find a way to check in, stay connected, or simply follow through on what you said. You don't disappear when life gets hard. This builds deep respect. A woman who sees you making space for her, even when that's not convenient, understands that you're not flaky. You don't just show up when it benefits you. You show up because you mean it. 4. You're clear, not cryptic. Some people speak in ways that are vague or indirect, leaving others constantly trying to decode their intentions. But if you're someone who communicates clearly, who says what you feel, asks for what you need, and isn't play emotional games, then you offer something rare. Clarity. She doesn't have to wonder where she stands with you. She doesn't have to read between the lines. And in that clarity, she feels peace. 5. You don't make her earn your effort every time. There's nothing more exhausting than feeling like every interaction is a test or that someone's interest is conditional. But when you're consistent, your kindness, your time, and your presence aren't used as leverage. They're part of who you are. You don't punish her with silence. You don't make her prove she deserves your attention again and again. You show up as someone whose effort doesn't change based on mood, convenience, or ego. 6. You set the tone and stick to it. In relationships, especially early on, there's often a testing phase where people try to see what's real and what's not. When you set a tone of respect, kindness, clear communication, or boundaries, and then maintain it over time, you tell her something very important. This isn't just a version of me you get when I'm trying to impress you. This is who I really am. And that consistency removes doubt, eases anxiety, and invites openness. 7. You don't disappear without explanation. Life gets busy. Everyone has moments when they need space or time to handle responsibilities. But the difference is this. A consistent man communicates. If you need time, you say so. If you're unavailable, you don't vanish. It's plain. This keeps confusion from growing. It builds a deep sense of emotional safety because she knows. You won't just walk away without reason or warning. 8. You don't keep changing rules. Inconsistent people often shift their behavior or expectations without explanation. One day something is okay, the next it's not. One week they're affectionate, the next they're cold. That kind of instability breeds confusion and fear. But when you're consistent, your values and expectations stay clear. Don't change your standards to manipulate a situation. Treat people the same way, even when your mood changes. That stability allows her to let her guard down. And when a woman no longer feels she has to stay ready for the shift, she becomes her most relaxed, warm, and authentic self. 9. You're the same person in every room. Some people change their behavior depending on who they're around. In private, but dismissive in public, or they shift their tone when others are watching. But a consistent man is genuine across all settings. He doesn't put on a show, he's not pretending. And whether he's speaking to a stranger or someone he loves, he treats people with respect and decency. That reliability of character is something a woman deeply values. It tells her you're not performing for her or anyone else. 10. You build trust over time, not all at once. A consistent man understands that trust isn't earned overnight. It's built day by day through his male but meaningful actions like remembering things she said, showing up on time, checking in when she's quiet, listening fully without interrupting. Each of these may seem small, but over time, they create a powerful message. You can count on me. A quiet message is what allows her to feel safe, open, and deeply connected. Number 10, you makahar, feel like a priority without pressure. When someone feels like they matter, not because they're being pushed or persuaded, but because they're genuinely seen and valued, it creates emotional safety, not tension. There's a difference between chasing someone and quietly choosing them. You don't demand attention. You offer presence. You don't rush or corner her. You simply show up consistently and meaningfully. Here's what it really means to make a woman feel like a priority without putting pressure on her, and why it deeply matters. Number 1, you respect her pace. You're innate in a hurry to define everything or speed things up. You allow her to unfold in her own time, knowing that anything meaningful deserves patience. This alone removes the pressure she might feel from others who expect immediate clarity or commitment. When you honor her timeline, she feels safe, not scrutinized. She knows you're not tracking her every move or waiting for her to perform emotionally. You simply give her space to be herself. Number 2, you show up even in small ways. You don't need grand gestures to prove you care. You're consistent in the quiet ways that count. Whether that's checking in to see how her day went, remembering something she said in passing, or showing up when she needs someone reliable. It's not about the size of what you do. It's the consistency. You don't disappear when things get quiet. That steady presence makes her feel like she's important to you without making her responsible for your happiness. Number 3, you don't keep score. You're not tracking who texted first or reached out more. You don't make her feel guilty for needing time or space. You don't subtly punish her with silence if she doesn't respond quickly. By staying emotionally generous without demanding reciprocation, you show their true interest is real, not transactional. This builds trust and lowers her guard. Number 4, you don't force conversations. You invite them. You ask her how she's doing. Because you care, not because you want to steer things toward a certain outcome. If she wants to talk, you listen. If she doesn't, you don't take it personally. She never feels like she's under emotional surveillance. Instead, she feels free to open up when she's ready. That's what makes your connection feel like a safe place, not a performance. Number 5, you listen to what she values and you respect it. You don't try to change her. If she cares about something, whether it's a goal, a familiar tradition, or how she spends her alone time, you respect it instead of competing with it. Take the time to understand why those things matter to her. In doing so, she sees that you don't just want time with her. You want to know who she really is. That's the kind of validation that doesn't overwhelm or confuse. It simply affirms your worth. Number 6, you give her your full attention when you're with her. You're not distracted. You're not half listening while scrolling through your phone or mentally somewhere else. When you're with her, she has your focus. And not because you're trying to win her over, but because you value the moment. That kind of present-minded attention makes someone feel like they're not just part of your day. They are your day, even if for only a short while. Number 7. You support her without trying to solve her. When she opens up about something difficult, you don't jump in with advice unless she asks. You offer empathy, not quick fixes. She doesn't feel like she has to justify how she feels.
Bye.
Simply being there and validating her experience, you become someone she can rely on emotionally. And that kind of support, non-controlling and patient, is rare and comforting. Number 8. You're clear about your intentions without pushing outcomes. You don't hide your interest. You're not playing games or being vague. At the same time, you're not trying to push her into the same emotional space you're in. You let things unfold naturally. The honesty gives her clarity. She doesn't have to guess how you feel, but also freedom. She knows you're emotionally open, not emotionally needy. Number 9. You celebrate her individuality. You notice what makes her different, and you don't try to mold her into your preferences. You compliment her mind, her creativity, her resilience, not just their appearance. You appreciate her quirks and her passions. A genuine attention builds connection without creating pressure. She doesn't feel like she's performing for your approval. She feels like she's being seen. Number 10. You're grounded in yourself. The biggest reason she feels safe around you, you're a knight, trying to get something from her to feel better about yourself. You don't need her validation to feel whole. Because of this, your presence is calm, not chaotic. She feels like she can breathe. Around you, there's no need to impress, explain, or prove anything. That kind of emotional balance makes her feel like a priority because you know showing up from a place of strength, lack,